Welcome, Crusaders, and thanks for joining me for Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Last time we helped out Thal the Wallflower here, and met up back here at the Temple of Desna. We had a interesting experience involving, I believe it's the Azata Mythic Path. So now, I believe, since we are in a very bad shape here, we're going to try to make our way to an exit. Looks like we can get out right over here. We're going to head back to the Defender's Heart and try to recover everybody. And then I've gotten some comments that we maybe should have gone to find the Storyteller prior to the Defender's Heart attack. We obviously did not do that, but I think we'll try to head up there now after we go and recover ourselves. Apparently, there are some story implications maybe to finding the Storyteller ahead of that. So we might miss out on something, but that's alright. Okay, we've got an encounter here on our way home. It looks like at least one shear here. Yeah, so I'm generally playing, I would say, 1 to about 1 to 4 days ahead of these episodes when they come out. I try to stay a little bit ahead just so, kind of for my own stress level of not trying to get a video out the same day that I'm playing through it. That would just not work for a number of reasons. This way, if I miss a day, it's not a big deal. Also, if there are things that get potentially spoiled for me that I don't want to be spoiled, I'm possibly already past the area. So I do really appreciate all of the comments from people and the tips, and for the most part, nobody's been overly spoilery about anything to this point, which I really appreciate. But yeah, so we missed a couple things that maybe we should have done before the assault on Defender's Heart. But I'm sure it won't be the last thing that I miss. And can already tell that this game is meant to be played multiple times. Alright, so we're back here. I'm gonna... Oh, this is some more loot here. This, like, stuff that they've cleaned up for us after the fight. That's nice. Alright, I want to find... Things look slightly different here, maybe? Maybe not. Okay, we're going to, like, sell some stuff. Just try to take care of our... These guys are still working on tugging this corpse of the Minotaur out. We're going to try to get everybody fixed up and probably talk to Daeran. He should be in here somewhere, I think. And then we'll head... I hope we can head to the library to try to find the Storyteller. Oh, Joran, if you know who's who in the city, maybe you can tell me something about Count Erenday. I'll tell you, why not? Everyone knows the story, you see, but you could say that I'm the one who found it, in a way. The Erendays are a very wealthy and ancient line, and they hail from the outlying areas of Canabras. That's where the Erenday family's seat is, along with their ancestral lands. In the past, if Mendev was ever feuding with Sarkoris, or some clan from there was causing trouble, the Count and Countess Erenday were the ones who would defend the border with their soldiers. Their main residence was called Heaven's Edge. It still stands to this day, north of here, on the road toward Dresden. But no one lives there now. Around 10 or so years ago, there was a grand celebration held at the estate. The mother and the guardian of the current count invited the great and the good to celebrate his birthday. The entire Erenday clan was there, as well as many other nobles. And then, without warning, the demons struck. Clearly, they couldn't ignore such a perfect opportunity to cut down so many of Mendev's great dynasties in one fell swoop. There was even a chance that the queen herself would make an appearance, for she was related to the count as well. When no news came from the estate, a troop of inquisitors was sent to investigate. They forced open the gates and discovered a manor full of corpses. They all perished, Joran says sorrowfully. The servants, the guards, the guests, including some of Iomede's chosen clerics and paladins. The demons had unleashed a magical plague, terrifying and strange, the likes of which hadn't been seen before or since. And among all this was young Daeran Erinde, the only survivor. The Count had a talent for divine magic since his youth, healing magic in particular, and that must be why he didn't die along with the rest. He couldn't explain how he survived the disease. I saw him that day when they brought him into the city, pale and barely conscious of his surroundings. So that's the story. Since then, Heaven's Edge has stood abandoned, sealed off to the outside world. People are still afraid to go near the place. Alright. So I was looking through stuff here to get rid of it. Notice these 2 severed heads we've got in our inventory. Decapitated heads, severing of the neck is unnaturally clean and likely was performed using magic. You have no idea how these terrifying remains ended up among your belongings. Yeah, I have no idea how we got those. Okay, we got a bunch of stuff sold out of our inventory. I'm carrying around a bunch of weapons that we picked up that I'm not sure I'm ready to part with yet. They may be useful in one way or the other. I'm going to head inside the tavern here, and I'm trying to find Daeran. Oh, he's over here. Okay. Let's first rest and see if that clears up our death's door issues. I think it should. Okay, good. Everybody is in pretty good shape. Zeke and Sela still each have a negative level. Let's look at Daeran's page. A contrary soul. Falling victim to a deadly demonic plot would be enough to give anyone a grim outlook on life and on the looming threat from the abyss. But the young Count Daeran is a contrary soul. He sees the world as a grand playground and seems to turn a blind eye to the self-sacrifice of the Crusaders and the horrors of war. Feasts and frivolity, banquets and banter, Daeran lives like the world is ending, and it very well might be. He's an oracle. Although the gods work through many agents, perhaps none are more mysterious than oracles. These divine vessels are granted power without their choice, selected by providence to wield powers that even they do not fully understand. Unlike clerics, who draw their magic through devotion to a deity, oracles garner strength and power from many sources, namely those patron deities who support their ideals. Instead of worshipping a single source, oracles tend to venerate all of the gods that share their beliefs. While some see the powers of the oracle as a gift, others view them as a curse, changing the life of the chosen in unforeseen ways. Neutral evil. Speaking of which, I noticed on our main character, our alignment is kind of steadily shifting over here, like close to neutral good from our lawful good start. I'm not sure if there are consequences to that. If we leave, other than role playing, not sure if this is a bad thing to be straying from our intended alignment there. I know back in like some of the Baldur's Gate games, I think if you strayed from your alignment, there was an issue. It's been so long, I can't remember what that was, but it seemed like there was something that happened. So Oracle, it's not a type of cleric. It's a completely separate class. Used touched, Azata blooded. The muse touched epitomize freedom and joy and travel the world to liberate less fortunate individuals. Zata-blooded Asimars have a +2 racial bonus to dexterity and charisma, +2 to persuasion and mobility. You can use glitter dust once per day. Emissary. Atheism. You can channel. Light and medium armor. Shield proficiency. Oracle with the life mystery adds lore nature to her list of class skills. So he's going to have remove sickness, restoration, neutralize poison, restoration lesser there, and then restoration, breath of life, heal. All right. I like that stuff. I feel like I need a more dedicated support character. Healer. Looks like he could definitely fill that bill. Cool. Okay, let's go ahead and level him up once here. Maybe before I do that, look at this again. He had a crossbow in the... Yeah, okay. He's got a light crossbow. We've got some extra chainmail. Could give him. It's only 2 max dex, though. I'll lose a little bit from that. Might be okay, though. Okay, let's level him up. Okay, yeah, Oracle's a separate class. Maybe we'll just go ahead and give him another point in Constitution here. If he is going to be our healer, I want to make sure he's alive. I'm envisioning him maybe taking Camelia's place here, at least for now. So I think maybe grabbing the Cure Moderate Wounds spell. What the heck? Got demons in our bedroom, I guess. These are from the assault. They ended up in here. Somebody should start by cleaning that mess up. I don't really like sleeping around all that. Okay, so he's got the healing and the restoration lesser there. And then remove sickness, shield of faith, bless. We get into some overlap here with our main character, but if he was a regular party member, then Zeke go into some of the other things that are maybe more offensive in nature. Okay. Well, now we've done all that, let's go actually talk to the man. The Defender's Heart is a splendid choice for the Crusades outpost. The very sight of these walls brings back fond memories of drinks and revels. The drinks were really good, by the way. May I ask you a few personal questions? You can try. I've heard stories about the tragedy that befell your family. I hope you don't feel obliged to offer me your insincere condolences on this unfortunate occasion. My whole family, my entire noble line, they all died. And demons are to blame. It's not like I actually loved any of my relatives, except for my mother, but what's gone is gone. The family crypts are full of corpses, all covered in dust and the shadows of the past. What do you cherish most in life? There are far too many things that I cherish to fit them all into a single conversation. Believe it or not, but I might be one of the most life-loving people you've ever known. Daeran smiles. His eyes are gleaming with something different from his usual impudence and irony. There's a dreamy air about him all of a sudden. Dreamy. I rarely meet anyone who embraces the joys of living as enthusiastically as myself. There are so many exciting and beautiful things in the world. It should be illegal to waste your time on anything you do not enjoy. And I am not afraid to repeat that to anyone's face. Should it be Daskari and his demonic herd, or Iomade, the Lightbringer herself? What do you hate the most? The feeling of helplessness, the lack of control over my own life. Daeran replies without thinking. Then he adds with obvious sarcasm, and onion rings, of course. I'd murder the person who came up with those abominations. Kinda like onion rings. You don't seem especially keen on helping people, but your knowledge of healing is truly impressive. What prompted your interest in that? That is an interesting juxtaposition. If you really want to try out everything life has to offer, you also have to understand how to deal with the consequences. And I'm not talking about a simple hangover, mind you. Was he chaotic evil? Was that his alignment? Interesting. Do you have any good stories about your past exploits? I've got plenty, but I have to warn you that even the most outrageous debauchery sounds far less thrilling when you were not the one doing the debauching. Still, since you asked, I suppose the worst mess I've ever got myself into was when I staged my own kidnapping. I was once in correspondence with one of the Riverland's nobles, the young Lord Lebeda. Lander? And he told me about his days. He's a jerk, by the way. He told me about his days as a hostage to a group of bandits. This made me wonder what it would be like, and I thought that it might be fun to set up a little experiment. I engineered my own kidnapping by a certain gang through a chain of intermediaries and hired actors. Those fellows took the job very seriously. They caught me by surprise, killed my 2 bodyguards, and even tied me up. Of course, the whole thing seems preposterous now, but it seemed like an ingenious idea at the time. The employers had told the kidnappers that they were to keep me safe and sound, and another group of mercenaries in disguise was watching the spectacle from afar, ready to interfere in case anything went wrong. It turned out to be a terrible idea nonetheless. It wasn't the least bit fun or exciting. Sure, those bandits had been unable to torture or hurt me physically in any way, but they had plenty of other non-invasive methods of humiliation in their arsenal. Taking almost all of your clothes off and splashing ice-cold water all over you, for example. Ugh, I can't even remember if I said anything truly offensive to provoke them. Even though I initially planned to let them go after the ransom, their overly emotional reactions made me change my mind. I told my mercenaries to hang them all on the spot. I suppose the whole ordeal taught me a valuable lesson, which is that I am not built for hardships and trials. Wait, you just told me that a couple of your bodyguards died during the staged kidnapping. Does that mean 2 innocent people lost their lives so that you could have a bit of fun? Daeran pales a little, but not out of shame. Oh, spare me. It irks me beyond all measure when I hear about the suffering of innocents. He sighs, looks away, and continues in a flat, polite tone. Yes, the bodyguards died. Guarding nobles is a dangerous job. They were well aware of the risk. I don't really see a problem with that. Besides, they proved their incompetence. They would have stood no chance against real kidnappers. These mind games of yours will come back to bite you, sooner or later. I hope not. I enjoy myself. I enjoy my life, and I'd like to keep this going for as long as possible. So that was a stupid story, and now I'll tell you a truly brilliant one. Prelate Holrun had always strictly prohibited any public celebrations in Canabris, and he always picked on me for my lack of respect for the fallen and whatnot. His grumbling annoyed me so much that one day I drove 4 barges into the city harbor and set up a celebration on their decks. The ships on the river didn't fall under the prelate's jurisdiction, you see, so all he could do was snarl at me from the embankment. I, for one, did not forget the old boy. The main attraction of the festivities involved an inquisitor of Iomade dancing and roasting beautiful witches on illusory bonfires, taking off his clothes with every new victim. The spectacle was so heated, in every sense of the word, that the prelate almost had a stroke. Daeran gives you a mischievous smile. I still consider that one of my finest ideas of all time. Should the Crusaders ever succeed in their efforts against the Worldwound, I will do my utmost to get permission to hold a grand public celebration. Rivers of wine free of charge, an obligatory parade and a carnival in the evening. Contest for the most provocative succubus costume with a hefty prize in gold. Another contest where the participants have to fish a sausage out of a wine jar blindfolded with their hands tied behind their backs. The wine will symbolize the blood of all the dead heroes of the war, and the sausage, well, they'll find a heroic meaning for that as well. Over the years, the commemoration of the greatest victory of light over darkness will turn into an ordinary holiday, a fine excuse to get sloshed and rut like animals in the streets. Do you enjoy being mean to everyone? Yes. And here I thought you were hurling insults at people purely by accident. Daeran laughs. This time his smile is surprisingly soft. I like your way with words. What did you expect me to say if I wanted to make a good impression? Something along the lines of, I'm not mean, I'm just being honest with myself and everyone else. That's what people use as an excuse when they want to keep up their saccharine facade while still saying whatever nasty little thoughts spring to mind. That is not what I do. I have no hidden agenda. I'm just as much of an insufferable prick as I seem to be. Some people are simply begging for a good dose of mockery, so who am I to deny them? I don't give a damn if anyone holds a grudge against me, which is why I don't even try to avoid it. Okay. I'd like to talk about life in Mendev and the Crusade. Ask, I'm all ears. What's your opinion on Mendev today, in general? It doesn't exist, Daeran scowls. It is a frontier country that has attracted every utopian adventurer and fanatic from all over the world for more than a century. It is a place where the strangers outnumber the locals, especially in the cemeteries. The population of Mendev, for the most part, consists of humans and other races not exactly known for their longevity, so the current generation of Mendevians were born in the shadow of the Worldwound and raised by the Crusades. I might be the last person to complain about the decline of traditions and lack of character in our country, but I also happen to come from one of Mendev's most ancient lineages. Its history is bred deep in my bones. My tutors told me stories about my heritage. The galleries, libraries, and even the interiors of the manors I grew up in were filled to the brim with memories of events long past. There are many heroes of old Mendev among my glorious ancestors, or at the very least, patrons and contemporaries of such heroes. Does anyone actually remember them now? I don't think so. These days, Mendev has its own heroes, in shining armor and with holy fire in their eyes. I myself remember how several streets that once celebrated my ancestors were renamed in honor of some crusaders who had died in a heroic fashion. None of the citizens remember the old crossing festival that was eventually replaced by Armistice. These holidays even share the same date. Pretty much the only authentic thing about Mendev now is its endless war with the demons. And is there a point in bemoaning this state of affairs? What's gone is gone, but at least we are no longer some tiny, god-forsaken northern kingdom, and that's something, isn't it? You don't really like Crusaders, do you? Quite the opposite. When I think about how many devoted heroes are willing to protect this world against the demonic threat, I feel so inspired. Inspired to continue indulging my vices while they fight to keep me safe. Imagine being someone like me, someone who has everything they can possibly desire: youth, beauty, wealth, an honest wish to live and enjoy life, enjoy living, but vanishingly few ways to put it all to any use. The fact that the word fun itself is not yet outlawed in Mendev must be due to some bureaucratic oversight. You can celebrate your victories solemnly. You can wet your whistle after a challenging battle, but what about real fun? Joys, pleasures. I can't remember a single evening at court without someone chastening me for my banquets, my lovers and mistresses, my luxuriant clothes, my everything. It would have been a lot easier to tolerate all those hypocrites if they took a break once in a while. Instead, there was a constant fuss about how I wasn't doing anything for the greater good, and how I only brought shame to my royal cousin. What do you think of our enemies? Do you mean the demons themselves, or their followers? The former deserve to be cleansed with heavenly fire for their unholy origin alone, and the latter for their idiocy. I don't understand why a sane person would submit themselves to Daskari or Cabriri. Alright, Lady Nocticola almost seems like a bearable enough mistress, yet there are so many other cultists. They've tried to recruit me twice already, and I'm not even that old. First, a very pretty tiefling girl tried to seduce me, then they came with promises of Lord Baphomet's endless boons. I still wonder what exactly the old hornhead could offer me that I don't already have. You know what I've been thinking? Every shopkeeper knows this trick. An enticing offer along the lines of, 1 in every 100 buns from my bakery contains a silver coin, and of course a hired actress to make a memorable show of finding said coin in her sweet roll. And there you have it. Hundreds of gullible fools storm the shop hoping to win a prize for themselves. I think the infamous Erilu Vorlesh was such an actress for the Lords of the Abyss. A petty Sarkorian witch who became the uncrowned queen of the Worldwound, waited upon hand and foot by demon lords. Only instead of visiting a bakery, the gullible fools rushed to join the cultists. We have an army of unbelievably powerful supernatural invaders from another dimension, hell-bent on destruction and domination. And what do these fools do? They serve them willingly as pawns and lackeys, hoping against hope that someday their masters will notice them. You won't believe how delighted I am to be so vain and self-absorbed. These sins protect me against demonic temptation better than any virtue. What made you join my party, after all? You mean instead of carousing far away from Canabris with a small army of mercenaries to protect me? I will get to that. You see, when you appeared at my door out of nowhere, awash with bravery and heroism, and started tossing demons around like rag dolls, I thought that your company might be more exciting than my usual crowd of sycophantic hangers-on. You seemed competent and mysterious at the same time, so I decided that a little demon hunting wouldn't hurt, especially with such an intriguing entourage. That party had been growing staler with every passing second anyway. Needless to say, I'm not here for long. I shall return to the capital or even one of my country estates as soon as we reclaim the city. Crusades, bellowing commanders, row upon row of identical tents. This is not the life for me, but I will certainly remember you and our adventures together, for a week, or perhaps even longer than that. Okay. Good to get to know you a little bit there, Daeran. I'm gonna check in with Cleric over here and see if we can buy some things to help us on our way, and then I'd like to head out then to try to get to the library. We had some trouble with paralysis in the fight against that Nabasu. I'm gonna grab a couple scrolls for that since we don't have anything at the moment to help with that. The other thing I'd like to find is it doesn't have, if we do leave Camellia at home, that means we'll be without her aura of purity. We don't have anybody with like delay poison. I was hoping maybe he would have a couple scrolls for that. Does not appear to have any of that. Okay, we'll grab this scroll of restoration. Buy some cure wounds. Okay. Do you have any healing potions? Don't. Okay. Oh, the negative levels. Yeah. We have that one scroll I just bought. Actually, if we just sleep again, will that take care of that? I think it will. No, it didn't. That's interesting because Sela. Yeah. Maybe it can't. Maybe sleeping can't fully remove that. I know it got rid of some because she had like 3 negative levels and down to 1 now. But maybe you need restoration to completely fix that.
Our path leads on.
Well, I suppose we do have 1. We might as well just go ahead and use it. Let's actually use that on her.
I will guide us.
Okay, so the question here, who we take with us, I think we're gonna leave Nenyo home, we're gonna leave Camellia home, we're gonna grab these 2 guys and see how this works for us. Kind of still in like tryouts for party members. I'd say Lon is leading the pack. Ember is close behind. Sela maybe, and then we've kind of got one other spot to fill, and then we'll kind of leave our 6th spot open for kind of whoever we want to stick in, depending on what we're doing or for companion quests and stuff. All right, we just head straight to this library. Lost bag. Let's just continue on to the library. What I'm worried about, like, is Storyteller gonna be dead? Did we need to come here before the attack? Now we're just gonna find his body or something. That'll be disappointing. You're groaning. Barrel of flammable alchemical substance. There's a book over there. Temples of Iomade, Father Lorian's Guide for Neophytes. Somebody said I actually need to look at the books in our inventory. I can't just read them from where we're picking them up. Where is that here? But we learned something from that book. Hoping we would. Now, just to find where that is here. +1 shield bonus to AC against demons. Well, that's definitely useful. Okay, what's... Oh, wow. On fire. We're late to getting here, aren't we? Dang it. A stocky knight with a head of messy black hair stands before you. His armor is spattered with blood. He greets you with a deep, booming voice. The hefty crusader smiles merrily, paying no heed to the blood-curdling shrieks coming from the pyre, the acrid smell of burning flesh. They burn well enough, don't they? Cursed traitors, Aurilu's minions. These vermin infiltrated the crusader forces and aided the demons from inside the city. But I caught them. I am Captain Caleb Sazamal, and these men are my subordinates. A strange feeling rises up within you. It is pure instinct. You don't know what you're about to do, but you are certain that it is right. Examine the Crusader's armor and the symbols on it. You notice that the emblems on the armor of the 2 silent Crusaders belong to the Order of the Flaming Lance. But Caleb's... I feel weird standing here talking while he's on fire over here. Caleb's armor bears the sigil of the Order of the Sunrise Sword. Strange, then, that he introduced himself as their captain. Something's not right here. Take a closer look at the ruthless Crusader. Caleb is talking too loudly, all while casting sidelong looks at you. You have seen similar behavioral quirks before, in liars. Who are you punishing? The warrior howls, like a wild animal. Look around you. The city is in burning ruins, so many innocent lives lost, and all because of abominations like these here. Cultists, heretics, and spies slipping into our ranks, carrying out the orders of their brutal masters, and preparing a heinous death for us all. They want to give us over to the demons, just like Aurilu did with Sarkoris. They deserve to feel the flames licking at their legs. Ember, you come up with nasty words to use against people. You call them heretics, cultists, spies, so you don't have to call them people. Good people just like you. You'd feel bad for doing this to people, but not to heretics. Without those words, you wouldn't be able to burn them. What happened to the library? Demons showed up and carried everything off. I wasn't here to see it myself. I was fighting in this square. But these filthy traitors told me everything. My fists made them quite chatty. Sela, so what? You tortured them? Do you think those methods are worthy of a crusader? Under ordinary circumstances, no, but look around. The city is burning. Now is not the time for squeamishness. So, the trickster mythic path. Oh, okay, I was gonna just go with this. I don't know anything about the mythic paths, but the one called Trickster doesn't seem to fit with Cain. Not Cain. Cain was our character in Kingmaker. Zeke. Do we do this though? Just this goes back to our alignment, really shifting towards the chaotic, away from the lawful. Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe you. You're the traitor. Caleb looks at you in grim annoyance and spits on the floor. I thought I'd pulled one over on you there. Too bad it didn't work out for you. You'll meet your death in the flames with the rest of this scum. My new masters, the demons, will be pleased that I wiped out another couple of crusaders.
Defeat is not an option.
Alright, let's take these guys down. Only level 2s. Caleb, yours level 4. You're going down. Nice to have Woljif back. Yeah, Nenio, I don't know. She's a weird one. I do like the idea of... Where's Saxon? Oh, he's back there. Having an illusionist in the party would be cool. But our Kingmaker playthrough heavily involved the use of an illusionist. So maybe going a different route here with someone else will be fine. Zeke, I guess just hold on this guy here. We're kind of out of position here. Daeran's over here. Lon, why don't you go to town on this, Caleb?
You won't survive me.
Steela, get up here. Amber, let's put this guy to sleep. Let's get on our horse here. We're not exactly overwhelming this group here. Take out Caleb now, maybe? Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's too bad we didn't come here earlier. You know, I think I need to get used to the idea of the difference in the map here compared to Kingmaker. I mean, even though like this kind of looked like it was a ways away from the market square, but really everything is a lot closer than it looks on the map. Like traveling that far on the map in Kingmaker was like a day's journey, and it was only like took us 3 hours to get up here. Definitely something to get used to. Alright, got one left and he's on the ground here. Finish him off. Lon, do the honors. Okay. What's gonna happen here? Alright. The blind elf stands before you. He looks extremely strange. His face wears its years heavily, which is unusual for members of his race. Thinning gray hair, a ragged beard, sightless, milky eyes, pale, papery skin covered in age spots, a spine curved by the passage of time. This is not how elves typically age. The youth that graces the faces of elves, even on their deathbed, has totally abandoned this decrepit specimen. The old elf holds out his hand in your direction in the perennial gesture of the blind, greeting you with an unexpectedly strong and calm voice. Hello, I am Storyteller, and I wish to thank my rescuers. That is you, if I am not mistaken. Woljif. Storyteller? Huh, that's the first I've ever heard of a venerable old-timer like that, having a street name. Sometimes a person can lose their name, but Mama and Papa are gone, friends are gone, and there's nobody to ask what it was. So instead of their name, a person can pick any word that is good. Everybody has to have a name, or do they? I don't know. Daeran. Oh yes, we are your rescuers. The very idea. I, the savior of helpless old men. A whisper of this could cost me my reputation as a heartless narcissist, built over years of ceaseless toil. That's the damage bad company can do. Daeran turns his shining eyes to you. You'll be the ruin of me, won't you? Is this like a flirtatious thing? I don't think Zeke's really into that. But maybe it's just like a kind of intimidation. Yeah, maybe we are going to change your reputation if you hang around us long enough. Does that scare you? No, it doesn't. Daeran keeps his eyes locked on yours. The threat is great, but I am not one to turn my back on fear. I tire of this. That fine old fellow you saved is still awaiting your reaction, by the way. Who are you? The old elf frowns. I prefer people to call me Storyteller. It very accurately describes the sphere of my occupations and interests. In most of the places I have been, I am known by that name. You have piqued my curiosity. This is Daeran. A storyteller, are you a bard? If so, you should come perform at one of my parties, instead of knocking about in this dusty library. A bard? In some sense, yes, but not the type of bard that performs at festivities. I think your guests would lose their appetite after hearing my tales. What a shame, and I was so hoping to wheel you out for my guests. With your unusual appearance, you would have caused quite the scandal. But lugubrious bards are of no use to me. Half the bards in the city are the same. Their repertoire is confined to the one about longing, the one that causes indigestion, and the one that's a complete waste of time. I mean, really, how is one supposed to host a party with that? Ember, when I was little, my mother and father used to tell me stories, but I have no one to tell me stories now. Sometimes Grandma does in my dreams, but I always forget them in the morning. Can you tell me a story? This whole encounter with Daeran here, with Storyteller, it's just cool. Like, we could have easily been here without Daeran. And I wonder if you'd never get that interaction there. Corners of the blind elf's mouth slowly creep upward. For you, I may have a story to tell, but perhaps it is you who has a story for me. How come he didn't burn in the fire? To tell the truth, I myself do not know. I felt the heat, it was so strong. I waited for the pain, the burning, but I was unscathed. But the smoke nearly did finish me off. It may be some form of magical protection against fire, but I don't know by what means I may have acquired it. Just another oddity for my collection of the inexplicable. Gloom steals across the storyteller's pensive face. I want to talk to you about something. The old elf responds with dignity and courtesy, but firmly. In thanks for my rescue, I of course will render you a service in return, whatever it may be. However, at this moment, I wish to be somewhere safer than the present surroundings. My recent adventures have fatigued me greatly. I would be grateful if you could help me to a safe shelter of some kind. The stubborn set of the elf's mouth tells you that he won't change his mind. Woljif, typical. You do someone a good turn, and instead of saying thank you, they just ask for more help. Seela, go easy on the old elf. He's had a rough go of it. Yeah, because we've had it so easy. I'm taking you to the Defender's Heart. Please accept my sincere thanks once again, and if I may, please don't rush. I will struggle to keep up with your young legs. Alright, yeah, let's go. Alright, let's see where he is here. Oh, he's sitting over here with Daeran. Would be a kind of an odd couple. Oh, good. They cleaned up the bedroom. Appreciate that. The blind elf looks better than he did in your last encounter. His clothes are clean and his pale face has some color. The elf turns to you and listens closely. Is that you, my savior? I recognized your footsteps. Maybe, since they're sitting here together, Maybe we could have had that same conversation with the two of them that we did when we picked him up. Allow me to thank you again for saving me. Please accept this humble gift as a token of my appreciation. The elf hands you a small black ring with 2 scarlet runes on it. Storyteller's ring. And some XP. That... we might be leveling up. We should be close. Irabeth has explained why you were looking for me. I warned the authorities of Canabras that the local wardstone had been desecrated. They waved off my warning and paid for their inaction. I have examined many wardstones, but only in the one guarding Canabras did I sense a flaw, a spot of corruption inside. A vulnerability the demons will surely use. They are able to spread the blight inside the wardstone, corrupt it, and make it their weapon. It frightens me to think what it will be capable of. The wardstone must be destroyed. Who are you, and why did they let you examine the wardstone? The elf smiles faintly. I am the Storyteller, just an old elf, and a bit more. I am old even for an elf. I've seen many things and have been to many places. Not so long ago, I witnessed the making of a young kingdom in the Stolen Lands, led by a remarkable and promising individual. My advice on the complicated matter of conquering those lands proved useful to that leader. Definitely. This is not uncommon for me. Some seek my advice or services, and I don't refuse. This is how I acquired my reputation as an old vagrant, who's never hurt anyone, stayed out of others' squabbles, but sometimes gave good advice. I had a few friends in Narasian who vouched for my integrity. This is why my humble request to be allowed to see the wardstones was granted. I visited all of them, but only found cause for alarm in Canabras. Do you wield some special magic power? Some instinct? The Storyteller chuckles. Yes, to a certain extent, but it is more of a gift. I can see the past. Stories that have happened. I touch an object and shreds of its owner's memories are revealed to my mind. Their emotions, passions, and tragedies. I see visions like I am them, and their stories happen to me. This is my power. I've been roaming the world gathering such stories for many thousands of years. One day I will gather them all. What blight is concealed in the wardstone? I'm afraid I don't have the answer to your question. To understand the nature of this blight, we need to understand how the wardstone was created, and it is hidden from me. I can only guess. Have you heard of the Red Morning Massacre? A dreadful morning remembered with fear even by those not yet born at the time. A demoness called Minago invaded the city with a crowd of her followers and started to do what demons do best, kill and desecrate. They say they covered the wardstone with pieces of dead bodies, splashed it with blood from top to bottom. Could such an abomination darken the radiance of the gift of Iomade herself? The locals think this is impossible, but who knows? It was not the last attack. Many demon leaders brought their unholy forces here, even the terrifying Baelor Paramzada. Their attacks were rebuffed, but they still reached their target. I think this is when the seed of corruption was planted in the stone. It wouldn't have grown on its own, but Daskari himself has now come to take advantage of this weakness, to open the abscess that has been festering for years, unnoticed by the people of Canabras. And when the demon lord struck the blow, the weakened stone gave in. Now it's in demon hands, and nothing is stopping them from spreading the blight throughout the entire stone, and from it to the other stones along the whole perimeter of the world wound. Why did you travel to the wardstones? I tried to see their stories. The visions I had when I touched the wardstones were unclear. I saw hundreds, maybe thousands of different stories at the same time. They followed each other like flashes of lightning. It was impossible to separate them. I couldn't understand where one of them ended and the next began. I've heard you, Storyteller. In that case, you must make every possible effort to destroy the corruption. Unfortunately, I don't know where to get an instrument powerful enough to banish it from the wardstone. As far as I know, there is nothing like it in Canabras, but the demons might have something. I heard the dying roar of Terendelev, the silver dragon, the protector of the city. At the same time, I felt a wave of unfamiliar power sweep over me from head to toe. I would advise you to go to where Terendelev perished and search there for something. I'm sorry I can't be more specific, but intuition and a strange sense of rightness tell me to point you there. Okay. We've been carrying this purple stone knife. and I forgot where we picked it up from, but we found it in the square where Terendelev perished. What do you make of it? The storyteller reaches out and says softly, "Even from here, I can feel strange energies emanating from this object. If you don't mind, I will examine it using my method. I will try to see the past of its owner, their emotions, and shreds of their memories. Maybe it'll help us better understand what we are dealing with." The storyteller touches the knife, his fingers clamping around the hilt with a hungry, masterful grip. His face contorts into an evil grimace, his voice disgustingly raspy. "Hunger. My legs bring me into the lair, to my mother's feasting hall. Her swollen body overfilled with food is so huge that I have to look at it with all of my eyes at once. On top is her scrawny little head, with a long beak that is always yearning for more food." You feel feverish. Your chest, where the mysterious wound is concealed, feels hot. Your mind is flooded with a wave of visions that repeat the words of the old elf. Mother greets me with a placid screech. "Stupid, greedy wretch, whose only achievement is my birth, a creeping, wingless creature. It's your fault I have no wings, a symbol of greatness, a birthright I should have received from my mighty father." Mother points me to the crowd of whimpering subjects, suggesting I fortify myself with their pathetic flesh. Not today. I summon my spawn and they fly to me, enveloping me in a teeming cloud. Like dark buzzing wings, they unfold behind my back and lift me up. Mother has always been stronger, but she did not expect this. I dive on her and rip her limp, bloated body with my claws. Ichor splatters, the bone spurs on my heels sink into her flesh. I clench her pitiful tiny head and tear it off along with the shreds of meat. Victory, I am the strongest. I am the son of my winged father. The elf grimaces with distaste. His voice becomes normal again. Appalling. Stories like that are the most difficult ones to keep with me. Did this knife belong to a demon? The storyteller opens his mouth to answer, but a sudden spasm crosses his face. A new vision, a much stronger one, engulfs the old elf. The malevolent undertones vanish from his voice as it grows more determined and tired. Even looking at the wardstone is difficult. Despite the corruption nesting in it, it still has an aura of strength. Your fingers clench the stone hilt so tight it hurts. A little spot on the flawless surface of the wardstone draws your attention. It looks like a butterfly. Corruption in the guise of something utterly harmless, but it will grow. You swing and stab the butterfly with the knife as hard as you can. Your fingers cramp painfully. A howl invades your ears. Light, white light everywhere. The stone knife falls from the old elf's hand. Out of breath, he drops to his knees. He is trembling, terror on his face so unlike his usual dignified manner. What? What was that? That was not the past. That was something that is yet to happen. Or rather might happen. One of the roads to the future. In one of the possible futures, this item will help you to cleanse the wardstone, or to destroy it. You feel a longing to take the stone chisel and plunge it into your chest, right into the wound that has opened up in it. It is hard to resist this feeling, but at the last moment your self-preservation instinct takes over, and you manage to keep control of your own hands. The old man stands up. He looks completely stunned. Never before has anything like this happened to me. But how? I am not an oracle or a prophet. Or is this another riddle from the past that has caught up with me? I must find out. Seeing stories that have happened is one thing, but seeing stories that are yet to happen, I don't know why this is happening now, but there is one thing I'm sure of. This is not a coincidence. This is a sign of coming changes, great changes. I shared your vision, and this knife tempted me. Did you see what I saw? This has never happened before. Could it be the magic of the object that you brought me? I sense dark energies in it that can cloud and charm the mind. Be careful with this item. It may have tried to influence you, but you managed to overcome its power and subdue it. Or perhaps something else happened to us, something we don't yet understand. Can you see the future? I don't know. Obviously I can, but nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The future never opened its secrets to me before I met you. Gods, who are you and why have our paths crossed? I feel this is not a coincidence. Something momentous is happening. Destiny is pushing us towards something. But what? questions without answers. I swear, this morning I couldn't have imagined what awaited me. Maybe it's the knife that gives you the power of divination. This knife is a powerful artifact, but I feel that its power is of a different nature. No, I felt the same as I do when I tell the past. This is my gift, but manifested in a completely abnormal way. Is what you saw destined to happen? No, the future is not set. It used to be. A long time ago when the god Eredin guarded Galarian, but not now. Prophecies do not come true, or they do, but not the way they were supposed to. I only saw one version of the future, one of the paths leading to it, but the choice has not been made, and our destinies are not set in stone. Who were you in your vision? I don't know, someone strong and desperate enough to resort to extreme measures. I felt that what I was doing had to be done. Your powers are amazing. A few minutes ago, I would have agreed with you, but the thing that has just happened, it disturbs me. My gift has never manifested like this. Something has changed, and these changes frighten me. Are we carrying anything else that could tell us a story? Let me touch them and I'll tell you what I can see. The old elf carefully takes Yaniel's sword, Radiance. Powerful forces lie dormant in this sword. It used to belong to an incredibly bright and daring soul. The storyteller's hand runs carefully over the scale that has still not lost its shine. Proud Terendelev, protector of Canabris, you devoted your life to serving people. Your death is a great loss, but maybe I will be able to find out something about you that is unknown to your many admirers. The storyteller fiddles with a fragment of a gold buckle. An old thing, created long ago by divine will, but the power that gave birth to it is lost in the darkness. However, the relic still lives on. Though it has changed, I wonder what secret it is hiding. Would you like to know it? Bring me 5 vials of magic essence, and I will revive this object, and with it, its story. That's kind of cool. Instead of having to find 5 pieces of the object, we just need magic essence to reveal the story. That's a cool change if there's more like that. Storing a broken gold buckle. Is that why that one's red? Present the stone knife. Tell me more. Tell me about its previous owner. Is that just going to be what we already went through? Is it red because we don't have the materials for this? Must be. Okay. So can you tell me more about Terendelev? Okay, yeah. I'm flying. I can finally spread my wings. I am gliding over a broad river. The sunset has turned its surface smooth like a mirror, and I see my reflection. It is as if another silver dragon is rising to meet me from the depths, but what is it? The scales on my chest are black, and the darkness is spreading over my body. I wake up. A clear sky sways above me, blazing with heat. I am in human form. The red dust of the wound clings to my cracked lips. Someone is carrying me on a stretcher made of shields and spears. I am so weak I can barely lift my hand to my face. The sight of my own hand terrifies me. It is black and the skin glistens like scales melted by fire. I probably ought to cry, but I only feel hatred and nausea. All these people around me, out of sympathy for them, did I choose to leave the mountains. I gave up my flights over rivers. I went to the demon's lair. They don't have a scratch on them, but I am infected with foulness. It's not fair. My life is more precious than their pathetic existence. Oh, how I hate them in this moment. And then I suddenly feel shame. No, these are not my thoughts. The crusaders carrying me are my good friends. I am glad they did not suffer. But I hate them, and myself, so much. Pain and hatred pierce me all at once. It's all because of them. All because of them. Someone walking beside me touches me, talks to me, but the only thing I hear is, "Your mentor, he will come, he will help," and I lose consciousness. The storyteller takes a deep breath, exiting the vision. Such hatred from Terendelev. Wasn't she on our side? Terendelev has come a long way. Her unit was ambushed by demons once, and she was infected with foulness. The Terendelev you met in Canabris had gone through many trials and regained her former purity. What happened next? The storyteller puts his hand to his forehead. Sometimes the past can be as vague as the future. We all know how Turendalev's story ended, but the beginning is hidden from us. Maybe if you find something else that used to belong to her, we will know more about her struggle. However, no matter what we learn, remember, her soul, the soul of a true dragon, overcame every obstacle, endured every moment, every torment. She was able to purify herself, for dragons are truly powerful, not only in body, but in spirit, too. Okay, Radiance, what do you see in its past? Storyteller touches the blade with his finger. Sadness rings in his voice. Dresden is doomed. Demons attacked right when we lost the protection of the Sword of Valor. My city, my bastion of hope. We built you as a symbol that the lands mutilated by the Abyss could still be restored to mortals. Now you are perishing, and there is nothing I can do. We retreat. No, we flee. A frightened crowd rushes out into the night through the southern gate. They are chased by the angry howls of demons, killing the last defenders of the citadel. My heart goes out to them, but I'm standing still on the wall. I'm covering the retreat. Demons do not attack. They seethe around you, fall from the sky, strike from all sides at once. They can't be stopped, but they can be distracted. I run to the upper floor of the gate tower. Radiance glows with a golden light in my hands. I permit myself to close my eyes for just one heartbeat. I imagine that the soft glimmering of the sword I see through my closed eyelids is the light of the summer sun. I smile. I open my eyes and call out, "Hey, Daskari's spawn, who wants the best trophy of the night? You know my name, Yaniel. You know how many of you I have killed with this very hand. You want to curry favor with Darazand, Minago, or the echo of your lord? Bring them my head, if you can." Roaring and screaming, they rush toward me in a wave of deformed bodies and unfurled wings. The wave crashes against me, spattering my armor with bloody froth. Broken wings and chopped up bodies plummet to the foot of the tower. In the heat of the battle, I see Joran's pale face down there. He looks up at me in desperation, but he can't help. He's carrying 2 wounded on his shoulders. My city will fall, but my friends will survive. This is what I am fighting for. I am covering the retreat. Okay, I wonder if that was Joran Vane, blacksmith, brother of Staunton. So did Staunton have the sword? Like, this kind of sounds like could be coming from his point of view, maybe. The flow of fleeing people gradually dwindles. My armor is broken in many places, and I cannot heal my wounds anymore. The last demon I stabbed with radiance suddenly recoils, tearing the handle out of my blood-slickened hand. He flies up but falls somewhere far behind the walls, by the road being taken by those fleeing. No more golden glow in my hands. The night closes in on me, filled with shrieking, mocking demon laughter. Dresden, I'm dying with you. Light of the sword, righteous Iomade, accept my soul. Storyteller runs his hand along the blade with a sad smile. I know whose memory this is. I've heard about her so many times. Oh, it was Yaniel. Yeah. Okay. Yaniel was a true crusader. Touching her memories is so cleansing. Do you see the future of this sword? Just one of the numerous possibilities. Blind Elf touches the sword hilt and metal rings in his voice. I slide out of the sheath swiftly. I proudly watch the army of warriors led by my lord. I sing, slashing the air, putting courage in their hearts. I am Radiance, tremble, city of Dresden. My lady Yaniel has perished, but I am not done yet. Charge. The storyteller returns the sword to you. It is nice to know that this sword's glory days are not over. It has many battles ahead. Take care of it. It is a glorious sword. Okay. I'm going to hear about the knife later. That's going to be enough reading for me to do at the moment. And maybe we'll talk to him again about these other things as well. Right, yeah, I wondered if we picked up enough XP there to level up. So, yeah, next time we will get folks leveled up and look at this real quick. Okay, we visited the library, so we need to discuss the attack on the Grey Garrison. I think before we head into that, we've got other things to work on. Some of these companion quests and side quests. Errand, the gold buckle. Yeah, so we'll take a look at all of that. And there were also just some like random places on the map that popped up that we want to visit. So lots to do. Thanks for being here with me. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again here with me in Canabras. Bye-bye.